But now's the time we've got to turn that around and get back to being responsible adults, responsible for ourselves, and start to, really do what's going to affect our society for future generations, which is pay our own bills. And we can't do that by forcing someone else to even pay for our health care. Now, no one should go without health care because it's something that, I think everyone should have access to, at least access. I myself do not have health care. So as you would think that I would be one of the people that would say, hey, well, I don't have health care, so this is a great thing that the government's going to give me health care. I'm not in that boat because I want to be able to provide for myself. It's a matter of pride, for one. And, my health care consists of eating right, except for a nice house party like this where I get to eat some dogs and some sloppy joes. But running every day and being healthy and being active. And these are, some of the things that I do just to ensure my health as an individual choice that I make. I don't want nor need to have the government forcefully provide me with something that even if I want to opt out of, I'm going to be punished and penalized for. And that leads me to another thing. This Obamacare is the first time in our U.S. history that we're going to be taxed for something that we do not buy, instead of being taxed for something that we do buy. And the states, and I get the argument all the time, well, the states give us, mandatory insurance for our cars. Well, that's the states. States are allowed to do a lot more. Can't say I agree with it, but the states are at least allowed to do this. The federal government, however, is not allowed to take all 50 states and penalize the individuals within it for not purchasing a goods or service. So this is a very dangerous turning point in our history, because if they can do this for healthcare, the federal government, and as our great Chief Roberts has stated, it's a tax, and that's said sarcastically at this point. But since he's saying that it's a tax, this puts the government in position where now it can start to tax for more things that we do not purchase. So no one even knows what it's going to be next. And this is a very scary thing to me as well, because when my daughter's a taxpayer in another 8 years, I hope that she's not being taxed for, someone else's thing that they want to use the power of government to force someone else into getting for her. I would hope that she would be a responsible enough person, as we all should be, to do for ourselves. That's the most empowering thing we can do, is to be able to live for ourselves, to fish our own fish, so to speak. So now that we're talking about taxes, let me tell you a little bit how I feel about taxes. Well, I think that the progressive income tax is probably one of the most heinous taxes that we have out there. There's no reason why someone should be taxed for their income. That's stating that the government owns a portion of your fruits of your labor before you even get your hands on them. They're going to take them away from you and use it for things that you probably don't agree with. And as I believe it was Thomas Jefferson said, it's morally abhorrent to force a person to pay for their taxes. An idea that they do not agree with. And I butchered that and paraphrased it big time, but the ideas still stand. There's no reason why the government should be taking a portion of our property involuntarily to allocate it towards things that we do not want. We should be able to decide as constitutionally, right, I guess, to purchase or buy products that are going to be taxed if we wish to support the government in a certain way. Now, this is the way it's supposed to be done. It's supposed to be done through excise taxes, tariffs, and so forth, but not through a progressive income tax. And I'm not in favor of switching modes of taxation to keep a large government in place, as everyone seems to believe. We can't do anything without the government being there. We can do a lot of things without the government being there, because even if the government says it's doing it, like Obama says, you didn't build that, the fact of the matter is that you did build that. Even if you do work for the government, you are a person and you built that. The government doesn't even exist. It's not tangible. You can't touch it. You can't, feel it, anything. There's government building and government officials, but the fact of the matter is that it's made up in our minds by us, we the people. We get to decide how large or how small this is going to be, and I am in favor of a much smaller government. So that pretty much does it sums up a lot of where I am politically as far as what I want. I want to restore constitutional government. I want to restore our civil liberties. I want to have an economic freedom again from this tyrannical system that we have of the Federal Reserve that forces us into forces our economic decisions through their tinkering in the system instead of allowing the free market to really decide what we can do. I'd like to see a lot less, obviously, since being a constitution, I'd like to see a lot less federal government regulations into our lives, and definitely get rid of Obamacare. So if you like what you're hearing and what I have to say, hopefully you will support me in this because we can do this. We can turn this ship around. It's not going to happen on a dime, but it does need to start happening now. We are that generation. The time is now. And if we can turn this around, possibly our children can have an America that looks somewhat similar to what we have today or had in the past, even better, which is probably one of the best things that we can do, which is to ensure future generations will have their civil liberties protected, which is unlike any other country in the entire world. We have an American system of government that is the envy of the rest of the world. And I would like to keep it that way, not squander it, not turn it over to government bureaucrats running our lives 100% of the time. And I hope that you'll join me in that fight. And it starts by going to knowlesforcongress.com and donating not only your money, but your time. Come out, volunteer with us. Tell your friends, your family, your neighbors that there is an important mission that we all have as humans, especially as Americans, and that is to preserve our American way of life. Thank you very much.